Okay, so welcome to our strategy meeting for the Pasadena Pacers. We're going to try to keep it under 45 minutes. I'm going to try to go through this quickly. A lot of the first half of the information is going to be stuff that the LA Marathon sent to you in their email. So it's going to be a lot of, I think, boring things, but sometimes it's important to kind of get a breakdown of what they're asking of you. If you have any questions as we go through, feel free to speak up. I won't be looking at the chat box. It's hard to see it on here. So if you put a comment or a question in the chat box, I'll probably get to it at the end. Um, we'll also go over the course map at the end of all the nitty and gritty information leading up to that. Talk about what to expect on the course, where the hills are, where not to go out too fast, where to pick up the pace, and where to expect to see most help. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. Let me move this out of the way. First, we want to go over the race rules that the McCourt Foundation put for us. We have to have our bib numbers in front of us, right in front of the chest or on your belly. You cannot put it behind you. They don't like it on your leg. I know some people like to put it on their leg. Some people like to put it behind them. They want it to be in front of you because it can track easier with the little markers that they have on the floor. And they want to make sure that you are actually in the race. They don't allow bandits in the race. A bandit is someone who did not register for the race. So if they see that you don't have a race number, they will potentially pull you off the course. And if you have your bib behind you and they pull you off your course, that can cause some problems with you, breathing wise, and get you back on your rhythm. Obviously, you can't have any wheeled devices like bicycles or strollers. I don't think you guys have any problem with that. Any competitor who have been found to have gained an unfair advantage by receiving assistance or intentionally shortening the course by cutting the course will be disqualified, obviously. Go around all the cones, don't cut the
What's
cones.
that?
Sorry? Don't cut the cones, just go around the cones completely. You cannot transfer your bib. So if you're registered for the race and you can't run a race, you can't get it from someone else. You will be disqualified and they will probably not allow you to run any other events in the future if they do catch you. Runners in their final approach must clearly display their bib in front of them. We talked about that. So if you don't have a bib, they might pull you off the course. Don't try to cross the finish line with your families or friends. So if you have families that are going to watch you at the finish line, make sure they don't jump onto the course with you and across the finish line because it will mess up the timing that they have. And all entry fees are non-refundable and you can't transfer them. Um, pretty straightforward. Bib pickup. So everyone's required to pick up their own bib. You cannot pick up a bib for a friend or a family member. You have to have your ID when you go, and you cannot pick up your bib on race day unless you purchase pre-purchase start line hospitality, and you cannot have your bib mailed out to you. There are two opportunities to get your bib, just like the Rose Bowl Half Marathon. They have Friday, March 15th, next Friday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to go to Dodger Stadium, Lot G. Lot G is here, so the expo starts in this area, Lot G, and you exit out here on Lot I. The starting line is right here as well, so it's a good way for you guys to see the starting line in addition to getting your bib. The parking is free. You can enter through Gate A or Gate E. Gate A is the straight gate here on Vincilia Avenue. This is the start of the course. So you can enter through here, drive around and park in this area, go to the expo, pick up your bib, and then exit. It's pretty easy. They have different tents there and a lot of different vendors that you can talk to and purchase some things. Participant must bring their ID and your QR code. The QR code is the code that they email you when you register. You can always also find it on your active.com account if you don't have it. If you can't find it, you can also just look it up when you get to the expo as well. Pickup areas divided into different areas and different tents, and you can find the tent that applies to you. So if you're running the 5K, you're gonna have to go to the 5K tent to pick up your bib. If you're running the marathon and you're in the seated corrals, you're gonna have different sections to pick up your bib. If you're in corral A or B, you're gonna go to that corral. If you're in corral C, you're gonna go to corral C tent, and that's where you'll pick up yours. Most of us are in corral E, so you'll go to the corral E tent, and then that's where your bib will be. If you're doing the charity half marathon, then you have to go to that tent, obviously. So to go to the tent that applies to you. And this is a map of the expo. These are all the vendors that are going to be there. So you can go through this expo starting in this area, pick up your bib, and when you come across, you can talk to all of these fine people. A lot of times they give out free samples, prizes. Sometimes they raffle off goodies. Spend some time there if you'd like. These people are looking forward to talking to you. There's a lot of good vendors that are going to be out there, like Ofo Sandals. You know, I kind of like them. Nathan. There's too many to say, but just enjoy your time there, and it's free, so might as well talk to them. Parking and transportation. This one's tricky. I do recommend taking the Pacer bus. I think it'd be the easiest to get to Dodger Stadium. All participants should plan to arrive to the starting line by 5:30 in the morning, at least 90 minutes before the start of the race. There will be a lot of traffic, lines and road closures, so make sure you plan ahead. Last year there was a incident or a story actually of the woman who won the race. She was stuck on the freeway and she could not get to the starting line, so she actually exited her car on the freeway, ran up the dirt path just to get to the starting line to Dodger Stadium and barely made it by 5 minutes. So you don't want that to happen. Obviously, she still had a great race because she won the race, but you don't want to be in a position where you have to get out of your car when someone is dropping you off because you're stuck in traffic and you can't get to the starting line. The Pacer bus is one way to avoid that. If you already paid for the Pacer bus, great. If not, you can still pay for it. It's $25 per person. We leave from the Del Mar station and it takes you to Dodger Stadium the morning of the marathon. You have to pay for it in advance because we need to know how many buses we need. After paying for the shuttle, we will send you a waiver. First come, first serve. So when the shuttle fills up, it will be closed. But if we have a lot of people who want to continue to do it, so if we have a big waiting list, we will get a second bus. The shuttle will depart at 4:45 in the morning. Don't be late because we need to get everyone there to the starting line, and it meets at the corner of Raymond Avenue and East Del Mar next to the Congregational Ale House. Pretty easy to do. This is a one-way bus, so it doesn't take you back from the starting line. There is parking at the Del Mar station that you can pay for and just pick up your car afterwards. There's no like time frame on when you need to pick it up. If you park at Dodger Stadium, I think you have to take it out by 6 p.m. But here you can just leave it there for a longer period of time. If you want to get dropped off or if you want to park at Dodger Stadium, here's the information for that. You can only go through Golden State Gate via the 5 freeway, and you can use this address to get there. This will take you directly to that gate to enter. If you're wanting to just be dropped off, then you should use the left lanes when you go into the park. If you're going to park, then you need to use the right lane. So make sure you read the signs. I'm sure there'll be arrows pointing you on which way to go. If you're going to park at the Dodger Stadium, then you go to the right-hand side, the parking lot 3. If you're getting dropped off, they're going to direct you to go left. And important notes about parking at Dodger Stadium. All the gates will be closed to traffic. There's only going to be one gate opened, and it's going to start at 3 a.m. in the morning. Parking at the Dodger Stadium is free for the marathon. There is no shuttle transportation to take you back to the Dodger Stadium, so you have to plan on getting an Uber or getting picked up at the finish line to take you back to Dodger Stadium. And you have to pick up your car by 6 p.m. on race day in order for you to get it out, or they might tow it. So there's a risk of, what if you can't get Uber, or what if something happens and you can't get back to Dodger Stadium in time? You don't want to have your car towed. So Pacer bus is a better option than this. There's another option. You can always park at the finish line. Here are 4 addresses of parking structures where you can park. You have to prepay for your parking, and this is the link here. There could be a long line there too, so they expect you to get there as early as 3:30 in the morning so that you can have time to park and for you to have time for the shuttle to take you back to Dodger Stadium. You have to pay for the shuttle in advance as well, and that's also on the marathon website. Okay, so this might be another good option if you don't want to worry about getting transportation back from Dodgers or from the finish line. Your car will already be at the finish line, and you just have to worry about getting to the starting line from the finish line in the morning. Any questions on the parking?
No,
Kids was just saying take the train, right?
I look what did the trees. Keith told us how to do, right? Just do the train that. Well, we can book that.
Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Here's a schedule that the McCart Foundation put out at 3 a.m. in the morning. The parking opens at Dodger Stadium and security checkpoint opens at 4 a.m. Gear check opens at 4:45. The start line hospitality opens if you paid for it. You can start going into the seated corrals at 5 a.m. I wouldn't go that early because then you'll just be standing there for 2 hours. Security checkpoint closes at 6:25 a.m. and gear check closes at 6:30 a.m. So if you want to if you want to check some gear, make sure you get there before 6:30. At 6:30 a.m., they start the race with the pro wheelchair runners, and the hand crank race starts 5 minutes after that, along with other hand athletes. At 6:40, the seated corrals close, so you have to make sure that you're inside your corral by 6:40, or they will not let you in. At 6:40, this is also when the foot race starts with the elite women race. And at 7 o'clock, the pro men and the rest of the race starts. The pro women start first because there's I think it's pretty cool. They call it the Great Chase. They estimate the time of the fastest woman and the fastest man, and they see the difference. If it's 20 minutes, then they try to see who can cross the finish line first. So if the top woman crosses the finish line first, she wins an extra 10,000. If the man makes up the 20-minute gap and finishes first, then he wins the extra 10,000. So if you're wondering why the pro women start 20 minutes ahead, that's the reason they have this incentive for the Great Race or the Great Chase. The charity half marathon starts at 8:15 if you're running that. And gear check. So if you're running gear check, you must use the clear plastic bag that they give you at bib check-in. If you use a bag that's black and they can see through it, they will not let you use it. So make sure you just use the bag that they give you. It's a pretty cool bag. It's pretty big. It's drawstring. You know, it has you can put your name and your number on there so that they know that it's yours. On race morning, it's located in lot K. There'll be a lot of signs, so it'll be pretty easy to find. You can put stuff in there as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, and it closes at 6:30. Gear check is good if you want to go to Dodger Stadium with like extra clothing, a jacket that you don't want to race in, but you want to wear it to keep you warm, some sweats, maybe some sandals if you want to be relaxing early on. Gear check you'll be able to pick up after the race as well. So if you want to put in recovery sandals, so after the race, you don't want to be walking around in your race shoes because you got blisters or whatever. You can have the recovery sandals in your gear bag when you drop off at the starting line, and it will be at the finish line when you get there. So you can pick it up and put your racing shoes inside your bag and wear your recovery sandals. You can even put liquid like Gatorade and snacks in there afterwards. Anything that you want after the race, they will take over there for you. And the location of pickup after the race will be on Century Park east of the North Constellation, and it'll be open until 3 p.m. If you don't pick up your bag, the McCourt Foundation will take it back to their office. You have to email the solutions email and with your name and number, and make arrangements to pick it up. It's a big thing, so just try to get your bag there and don't forget about it, because then otherwise you might have to search it down. And starting line, if you are in a corral, you have to. It opens at 5 and it closes at 6:40. There's a separate entrance for each corral. So if you're in corral E, you have to find the entrance for corral E. You cannot go into corral E from the open corral or from any other corral because they're blocked off. If you're in corral B, you have to go specifically to the entrance of corral B. When you get your bib, there will be a big letter indicating which corral you're in so they can easily identify you. And you cannot move forward to a faster corral, but you can move back to a slower corral. So if you're in corral C, you can start in corral E if you wanted to, but if you're in corral E, you cannot move up to corral C, if that makes sense. If you're not in a corral and you're in the open corral, then it's just self-seating. You're in the back of everyone, and you can just go in there and find wherever is comfortable for you. There will be pace leaders there with pace per mile signs. So if you're planning on running a 5-hour marathon, look for the pacer that has a 5-hour marathon and line up amongst him, and they will help you get to the finish line around that pace. The finish is tracked by chip, so it doesn't matter what time you start the race. The people in the front don't have an advantage. Your race starts when you cross the starting line and it ends when you cross the finish line. So that will be your overall time. Okay. Any questions on the starting line? This is a picture of the corrals. Starting line is here. The elites will be in this little gray area. A is really small because there's not that many people there. And then you have B, C, D, E, and then the open is all the way over here in the back. Okay. In the morning, we will have a meetup for the Pacers. Pacers will meet near the hospitality tent at 6 a.m. This is a hospitality tent. This is the open corral. So you go all the way to the back of all the corrals. Right in this area, you'll find a group of red. And that's where we will be meeting. We will take a group picture, and then Ezra will lead us in a warm-up. We will also have stickers for you guys with Pacer contact information that you can put on the back of your bib. This person that's going to be on there, you can contact if you have any issues along the race and you need to contact us. Also, if you need to communicate with the 20-mile cheer station, like say you're cramping up and you need to, see me at the medical tent, you can let us know so that we're ready for you. If you have any other emergencies, there are medical tents along the course that you can stop by. But this is if you need to get in contact with someone from Pacers, you have our information on your bib. Okay. There are also other things here, like there's pre-race food and info. I think they have like free goos there and bananas. You can pick up some stuff there if you'd like. And then shuttle drop off will be over here. Any questions on the starting line or the corral placements or gear check? Perfect. Let's go ahead and begin. Pace leaders, the LA Roadrunners have pace leaders again, just like the Rose Bowl half. The finishing times that they have is every 10 minutes from 3 hours all the way to 5 hours, and 15-minute increments from 5 hours to 6 hours and 30 minutes. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to run with someone who is experienced and knows which pace that they want to run is going to be consistent on that pace. And they're pretty close together. So if you want to be a little ambitious, you can go a little bit faster. And if you feel like you're kind of struggling, you can go a little bit slower and you will find a pace leader somewhere along the route. Okay. They will be spread out in the corrals, so it would be easy to find. So if you want to run, like I mentioned before, a 5-hour marathon, find the 5-hour pace leader in the corral and line up with them so that you're not trying to search for them in the race. Okay, they will be wearing a dark blue shirt and have a big red sign. They'll be really easy to find. There are 28 stations on the course, approximately every mile from mile 2 to 25. They have water and electrolyte, and all 8 stations will feature both water and electrolyte. The flavors that they have: strawberry kiwi, blue raspberry, coconut. When approaching the aid station, the electrolyte will be first, and then water will be next. Be careful, there's a lot of crowds that go into the aid station. You can trip over each other, slow down, lose your rhythm. If you notice that there's a lot of people crowding the first tables, go around them and go into the next. They have like 17 tables, so it'd be easy to kind of get water at the end of the table, unless you're looking for the electrolyte, which I recommend that you get because we're going to need electrolytes along the route. Go around and get water from another table along the course. They also have goos at 2 different aid stations, mile 12 and mile 18. So a lot of people at the Rose Bowl asked our aid station if we had gels, and they were kind of hoping that we did because they didn't read ahead of time on which aid station had gels. So if you're looking for gels on the course, know that you can get it at mile 12 and mile 18. You can't get it anywhere else. So don't go to mile 10 looking for a gel. Do you have a question?
Yes. Are there energy gels that are caffeinated by any chance?
I'm not
That's
sure.
liquid.
On the website, they said that they have vanilla bean, strawberry, banana, and salted watermelon. You can Google the goo brands for these flavors and see if they have caffeine in it. But these are the 3 that they will have: vanilla bean, and I assume the vanilla bean would have caffeine. I could be wrong though. Vanilla bean, strawberry, banana, and salted watermelon. You can always get your own and put them in like a little pouch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Mhm. But know that they only offer it at mile 12 and 18. And I think at the start they have a couple as well. Okay.
I see. Thank you.
Okay. I do recommend getting liquid at almost every aid station or every other aid station. You don't want to wait until you're thirsty to get water or electrolytes. Because as soon as you start running, you start to sweat and you start to lose hydration, and you want to try to rehydrate as you lose it. You don't want to rehydrate when you're already dehydrated. The goal is to prevent yourself from becoming dehydrated, not to rehydrate yourself when you're dehydrated. So you want to replenish as you lose. So try to take it as early as possible. So at mile 2, I will take something. Okay. I don't know if they'll allow you to refill your cup or any bottle that you're carrying. I'm looking at the chat. If you go to a water station, they have the single-use bottles. So what you might have to do is grab the 1 cup and pour it into your bottle. I don't know how long that will take, because they won't have one to kind of pour into you. However, at the 20-mile aid station with the Pacers, we can fill up anything that you'd like. So when you come to our aid station, we can fill up your bottles. But at the standard ones, if you want to fill up your own bottle, you might have to sit there and put a couple bottles in or a couple of cups into your bottle. Okay. Let's move on. There's medical stations along the course. There are 10 medical stations. And it says every mile beginning at mile 6. I think that's an error because that means that there won't be any medical tents from 16 to the finish line. So just know that they will be out there. And the way that you find them is that they're bright red and they have the words medical on them. So super easy to find. They have the Keck logo because Keck Medicine of USC hosts these medical tents. They're stocked with basic needs like Band-Aids, Vaseline, salt tablets, ibuprofen, Tylenol, Cool and Fit. They have tape. They can tape you. Hopefully you don't need to visit one of these medical tents, but know that they are there if you need it. Okay. Pacer Nation cheer station. So we always call it the 20-mile cheer station, but we are actually at 20.2. So when you get to mile 20 and you don't see us, don't be afraid because we will be a little bit further down the road. If you look at the map, mile 20 is here on Santa Monica Boulevard, and we are on Sepulveda Boulevard. So you're going to make a right turn, and you're going to go down the road until you get to Massachusetts, just before Ohio, and we will be right in this area. So when you pass mile 20, just know that we will be coming up on your right-hand side pretty soon. When you get to the corner here and you turn on Sepulveda, there will be a group of volunteer pacers with red flags. We call them flag runners. They will meet you at that corner and they will run you into our aid station. So they will find you. One of the pacers will run with you towards the aid station and they'll talk to you. You don't have to respond if you don't want to. I know you're going to be tired, but they will ask you if you need anything. Pickles, water, salt tablets, chips, Gatorade, and anything that you need, they will run ahead and tell the people at the aid station what you need so that they have it ready for you, so that you don't spend that much time at our aid station. You're welcome to spend as much time as you need, but as it is a race, I know some people are trying to go for a time. Know that they will run ahead for you if you want them to, so that they can get you what you need and you don't have to wait and try to tell everyone what you need when you arrive. We will have food, drinks, and drop bags. If you want to have a bag there of your own things, you can always give it to us beforehand and we can have it at our aid station for you so that you can pick it up at mile 20. If you have a certain type of supplement or nutrition or electrolyte drink that you like and you don't want to carry it, we can have it there for you. And I will also be there with the chiropractic tent. We would have 3 chiropractors, 1 PT, and 2 chiropractic interns there. And our job is just to make sure that you're running pain-free. We can cover up any blisters that you may develop. If you're having some cramping or spasm, we can help decrease this cramping or the spasms. If you have any pain, we can wrap an ankle. If you have Achilles pain, we can put an insert in there and take pressure off the Achilles. We call it like a pit stop. Our goal is not to fix you. It's just to decrease the pain to get you to the finish line. So if you need medical or chiropractic on our tent, know that we are there just for the pacers and we will take care of you. Okay. And right here it says it's 6 miles to go. I always call mile 20 the halfway point of the marathon because the last 6 miles is just as hard as the first 20 miles. So when you get to mile 20, know that the last 6 miles, it's 10K, but it is going to be very difficult because you've already exhausted most of your natural energy. We have 2,000 calories that we have every day to spend. We burn roughly 100 calories per mile. When you get to mile 20, that's more than 2,000 calories. So you already burned your natural sources of energy. If you haven't been replenishing that throughout the route, then you will be pretty exhausted by then, and those last 6 miles will be very difficult. So make sure you continue to take the energy gels, electrolytes, any food that you have, your water, your electrolytes, all that will help replenish carbs, nutrients, glucose, and calories so that when you get to mile 20, you don't have a net loss of 2,000. You only have a net loss of 1,000, and you still have 1,000 calories to use to finish the last 6 miles. The good news about this new course, even though we're not going down the Santa Monica's because we do this U-turn, you'll pass us again, technically, just past mile 24. So you go 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and we're here on your left-hand side. So if you need anything, you can always cross the street and get to us again just before the last mile and a half to the finish line. Okay, so that's one bonus of the new course. And if you want us to identify you easier, make sure you're wearing Pacer red, a jersey or a shirt. That way, when you're coming down, our flag runners can identify you easier and they can take you to the Pacer aid station and you get VIP treatment. That's why we chose the color red, because it's super easy to see on the course. You can always invite your family and friend members to join us at this aid station too. You notice it says Pacer Nation and not Pasadena Pacers. We will have Azusa Pacers there, San Bernardino Pacers there, Whittier Pacers there, Pasadena Pacers, and also our friends from Doghouse, Azusa, and Pasadena will be there. So there's a lot of us that are going to be there to help you. Okay. Any questions on our aid station? Perfect. And let's continue. There's a time limit. I don't think we should have a problem, but I want to mention it anyway. The course will be closed to car traffic at 6 hours and 30 minutes after the last runner has crossed the start line. So that's around 15 minutes per mile. You should be able to finish the race if you maintain a 15-minute per mile. If you're walking and you're walking less than 15 minutes per mile, then you might be on the course when they open it up to traffic, which means that you'll have to finish the race on the sidewalk and traffic lights. So you'll probably be out there for a longer period of time. There are late aid stations, so if you do find yourself in a position where the street is reopened, they will have a couple aid stations that are continuing to be open for you guys. That way you have some aid to get to the finish line. Okay. If you won't need to drop out of the race, hopefully you don't, because of injury or dehydration, heat exhaustion, whatever reason, report to the nearest aid station or amateur radio operator next to the mile markers, and they will get your bib number and let the race officials know that they have someone to be picked up. They have shuttle vans that will pick runners up and take you to the finish line. They started at mile 7, water station, all the way to mile 23. So know that it's there. Don't force yourself to finish a race if something is really bothering you. If it's difficult for you to run, if you can't even walk without limping, then it might be a good idea to reconsider finishing the race and save it for another day. The shuttle vans are constantly going back and forth, so no, it might take some time for them to get to you, but if they recorded your number, they will pick you up. Okay. And now the things that people don't want to hear. The weather. It's predicted to be a warm day. Hotter than usual, hotter than what we've been running in for the past 3 months. So right now it says 77 degrees, which is pretty hot. 5 days ago it said 85 degrees. So I'll take 77 over 85. It looks like it is decreasing as we get closer. You know, the weather is unpredictable, and as we get closer, we'll have a better idea. But as of right now, I think we should expect no rain and a warmer day, which means that we need to make sure that we're properly hydrated. So heat adaptation takes about 10 days to occur in our bodies. And if you do the calculations, we have about 9 days to race day. So we need to try to get acclimated to the heat as quickly as possible. 77 isn't extremely hot, but since we haven't been in 77-degree weather for quite some time, our body's not used to it, and 77 will feel close to 89-ish. Okay, especially if you're just out in the sun with the sun beaming down on you. So we have to hydrate now, and this is my little calculation. Half your body weight in ounces plus 20 ounces of water is what you should be taking in every day. So a 200-pound runner divided by 2 is 100 ounces per water plus 20. A 200-pound runner should drink about 120 ounces per day. Okay, it's a lot, but we have to make sure that that's what we do so that when we get to race day, our body isn't dehydrated before we even start the race. Okay. In addition, let's get this question. Yes.
I was gonna ask, since we're racing in the morning, wouldn't we not really feel the 77 degrees, like if we finish quicker?
Yeah, so if you finish quicker, it won't get up to 77, but I have this here. So at the start of the race, it will be 58, but
Oh,
it warms up pretty quickly. So this is 7 a.m. here. It's going to be about 65. But if you're running 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, a 5-hour marathon, at 12 o'clock, it's already 75 degrees. So it can warm up pretty quickly. And with the sun being directly on us, it will feel warmer than what it actually is. So just be prepared that you're going to know that it's 72 degrees or 68 degrees when you're finishing the race, but it's going to feel hotter than it actually is, just because the way that the sun is positioned in that day. Okay. So I do still recommend hydrating this way, even if it wasn't going to be hot. This is the general recommendation for hydrating. And we also need to do the sunscreen, anti-chafing products. The hat will help keep the sun out of your face and keep you cool. I also recommend finding shade along the route. So if you're in the middle of the street and you notice the right hand of the street has a lot of trees, aim for the shade. That will go a long way. Stay hydrated throughout the race, like we talked about earlier. Taking in nutrients from almost every aid station. So what I recommend for heat adaptation is to try to go into the sun the next 8 days during the hottest part of the day. So like at 12 o'clock, just go for like a 20-minute walk or just sit down on a bench and into the sun. Just get some sun on your face and on your body, and that will teach your body to kind of cool yourself down a little bit easier and get you used to the sun. It's not going to be as hot this week, but at least you're getting a little bit of sun so that your body will kind of adapt a little bit so that you'll be better prepared on race day. Okay. If you can do your recovery runs in the middle of the day, that'd be better. But I know it's harder with work to kind of get out in the middle of the day. Okay. This weekend might be a good option, but obviously tomorrow we're running in the morning, but Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that'd be a good time to try to go out at 12 o'clock. Okay. In addition, I'm still talking about the heat. Since it is going to be a little hotter, I don't really expect this, but I just wanted to put it in there anyway, just so you guys are aware of heat exhaustion. 77 degrees is very uncommon for us to have these types of illnesses, but since it is hotter than we normally train in, I thought it'd be worth just mentioning. These are some symptoms that you can expect to feel if you're having heat exhaustion. Chills, cold, clammy skin, dizziness, fainting, dizzy, or headaches, muscle weakness, muscle cramping. We might see a lot of muscle cramping actually. Nauseousness, fast, weak pulse, heavy sweating, and really, 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 really thirsty. So if you see any of these, make sure you slow down, stop at a medical tent, make sure they rehydrate you, take some salt tablets, cool down a little bit, get a wet towel, put it on your head. That can kind of cool you down as well. Make sure you drink something, monitor your symptoms. If they don't go away, you might have to stop the race because it can lead into heat stroke, which is this one. Usually heat stroke occurs when it's over 100 degrees outside, so I don't expect this to happen either. But it's important for you to know the signs and symptoms just in the future anyway, because summer is coming and I expect you guys to continue to train. Heat stroke occurs when your body overheats due to excessive physical activity in hot weather or spending too much time in hot temperatures. And the symptoms are body temperature of over 104 degrees, changes to your mental state like delirium, confusion, irritability. You may lose consciousness. You stop sweating, so your skin is dry. Nauseousness, vomiting, rapid breathing or heart rate. You have hot red skin and you have a throbbing headache. This is a medical emergency, so 911 is the only thing to do. So if you notice any of your partners or anyone around you experiencing these symptoms, then make sure you have them call or you call 911 for them or get them the help that they need. I don't expect this, but in the future is something good just so you have for general knowledge since we are always running in the heat. Okay. Any questions on the heat? Good. And the fun stuff. This is the course. It's a long way. We start here at Dodger Stadium. We do this little loop inside downtown. We travel all the way through Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset, down this way into Santa Monica, do a U-turn, come back and finish in Century City. There's a bunch of landmarks that you pass by. So if you're interested in looking at the landmarks, this course is on the website and they have what the landmarks are in a star with a little number, and they're also labeled here on the map. So number 10 is the Pantages Theater, and you can see that it's right here just past mile 10. So that's pretty fun if you wanted to take a look at this map and see where these landmarks are if you want to see them in person. We will go over the course in detail. Let me exit this and open up this. Can you guys see this map?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So this is Strava, and I found someone who ran the LA Marathon last year, and I stole it from them. So this is the person who ran it, and it's measured a little bit longer because this person might have not taken the tangents, but the course is accurate. So 26.7, 26.2. The course is what it is. As you can tell, this is the elevation. We start with a little hill initially. You're not really going to feel it. You're going to see it, but you won't feel it. But it's about 400 meters of a hill, and then you get a lot of downhill just until about mile 4. And then you start to roll. You get a big downhill here. You get an uphill here. And then the finish is a little uphill. As you can tell, there's a lot of rolling. So making sure that you know where these hills are and not to go out too fast can really help save your race. And if you remember, we did a lot of hill training during our training for this region. We did spider routes. We did up to Descanso, back down the La Loma Bridge. We did Arbor once just because of how hilly this course is. So we like to include a lot of those hills so that you guys are prepared. So we'll go over maybe 6 miles at a time. So if we zoom in just to the start, you start here, the initial hill is just getting out of Dodger Stadium right over here. If you get out of Dodger Stadium, then you get this big downhill. The biggest mistake that people make is going out way too fast the first 4 miles because of this big downhill. it's your first marathon or your first time running the LA Marathon, you're gonna have a lot of adrenaline. You get to the top of this hill, you feel great, and then you get this big downhill, and you feel great at mile one. You get to mile two, and you're running record time because of all the downhill, and you continue to push because you feel like you have the runner high. And you get to mile four, and then you get this hill at mile 4.2. And when you get to 4.2, you're like, I can do it. You drop down again, and then this next hill going up to six. This is where a lot of people start to struggle and hit the wall, getting into Echo Park. If you guys ran the preview at Dodger Stadium, you saw these hills and know that they can ruin your race at mile six of the marathon. And that means you have 20 miles to go on really tired legs. So I really recommend to take these first 4 miles very conservatively so that you can take these next two hills pretty conservatively as well. So all of this here in downtown LA, make sure you take nice and easy. When you get out past Echo Park, then you can start to get into your rhythm and start to run your race. Okay, so this whole thing, starting from Dodger Stadium all the way into Dodgers or downtown across here, these little turns, past Echo Park. Once you make this turn, then you should be good because this is a little hill too. So just before mile 7, that's when you can start picking up your race. Okay. Any questions on this first 6 miles before we move on?
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So like when you're doing the first 6 miles, let's say that you would you say like to have it like would you say to run it like slower than your actual like normal pace?
For the first 4 miles, I would hold your normal pace
Okay.
because you're going to be going downhill, and your normal pace will be using less energy than usual because you're going downhill. So you won't be working as hard to hold your normal pace going down this hill. From this point, just past mile 4, you're going to start the climb. From 4 to 6, you can go slower than your normal pace.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 2 miles, so you're not going to lose much time because of the first 4 miles you kept your normal pace. I just wouldn't go faster than your normal pace. The problem with the first 4 miles is people tend to go faster than their normal pace because it's downhill. Have you
Yeah.
noticed at when we go up to Descanso Gardens and you
Yeah.
come back, people are usually faster than their paces. The
Mm-hmm.
9-minute group is running 8:20. The 12-minute group is running 11:10. Don't do that. If you're in the 12-minute group, don't run 11:10 on this portion. Run 12 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
And then that will save you.
All right.
Any
So if
other
I
questions? Oh, go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I said, so if I usually run like an 8-minute mile, I should keep it at an 8-minute mile downhill.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And then maybe 8:30 or 8:45 going up these next two hills, and then you can pick it back up to about 8 minutes on the next 10 miles or so. Okay. Any other questions on this portion? Okay, good. So the next portion is pretty easy. I mean, it's rolling. There's not much you can do from 6. So as soon as you turn here, turn left on Echo, it's about 6.5 miles. And let me move this map. So it's about 6.5, and you're just gonna go all the way across. And then when you get to mile about 14.5, it's just this whole thing here. It's just rolling. There's not much you can really do. There's not much strategy. Just try to maintain your normal pace. A lot of the routes we do are also rolling. So this is what we trained for here. Just try to find a rhythm, stick with your pace leader, and just knock out the miles one at a time. This is a really long stretch. You're still gonna feel pretty good getting out of Echo Park. So still don't run too fast. Try to stay true to your pace. And when you get to mile 14, just before mile 15, you get this really steep downhill. Control this downhill too. You don't want to go too fast. This is a really steep downhill, and you're going to find yourself flying down this hill. If you notice yourself running faster than normal, just try to collect yourself, slow down a little bit because you don't want to go out too fast on this hill. You can get your heart rate to increase by 20-30%, and your lungs will have difficulty trying to catch up to that. And that's how we get these side stitches and these cramps. Have you ever experienced a side stitch or a cramp during a run? It's not very fun. It can be very painful, and it can slow you down, and your pace leaders will go away from you. So to prevent that, take this downhill nice and easy, maintain your pace. You can go a little bit faster if you'd like, but if you're in the 11-minute pace group, don't try to run 9-minute pace because you can down this hill. Maybe stick to about a 10-minute pace instead. Okay, and I'm okay with you going a little bit faster here just because it's only about a half a mile of a downhill. think of this like going down the La Loma Bridge, or the La Loma Hill. So it's going to be pretty steep, and you're not going to want to go down fast anyway because of the fear of falling. Okay, this next part from mile 15 to 20 is a little gradual uphill, but it's not that difficult. I mean, you can kind of work through this portion. It's when we get to 20 is when the race gets really difficult. So from 15, after this downhill, you're going to notice that you're going to climb a little bit. And then from 18 to 20, you're going to descent a little bit more. So you're going to be a little tired when you get at 20. But this is, I think, the most hardest part of the course is once you pass mile 20, you get this about 1 mile of gradual incline from mile 19.8 all the way to 21.3. So it's a mile and a half of climbing. And strategically, that's where our tent is, the Pasadena Pacer aid station. So that's why we placed it there, because it is one of the more harder parts of the course. You have mile 20, you have 20 miles down, and then you have this long uphill trying to get to the top of Sepulveda Boulevard. So it might help that you stop here at mile 20.2 to get some aid from us. If you're not stopping, it still might help for you to kind of get cheered on by us. It gives you that extra motivation to see all of your friends and buddies that have been training with you for 24 weeks. This hill, just get over it. Try not to push too hard, but then don't slow down too much either, because if you slow down too much, you lose too much rhythm, and it'll be hard for you to regain it. So you don't want to slow down too much, but then you don't want to fight to get over this hill as much either. Okay, because as soon as you get to the top, over here when you get towards San Vicente, it's pretty flat. I mean, you get a little rollers, but it's not that bad. So after this part, it's pretty smooth sailing for the next 4 miles from mile 21 to mile 25. So just get over this hill at mile 20, cruise the next 4 miles. And then when you get to mile 23, you get to come down that hill that you just struggled going up. So you get to come down it, you get to see us again. And at this point, you have about 1.5 miles to go. The problem is when you get back onto, I believe this is Santa Monica, it's 1 mile to the finish. And that mile is all uphill. So that's a problem, because you're going to be on tired legs. You're going to have like 5 ounces of energy left. And this is where your heart comes in to try to get you to that finish line. And this is also why we always finish our long runs from South Pasadena back to Pasadena. Have you noticed that, we always do mile 18 or it's 15 to 22 going uphill, because we need to practice running uphill on tired legs. So there's a reason why we do everything we do. And the reason why we finish with an uphill finish is because the marathon here with an uphill finish. Okay, so at this point, just get to the finish line. Know that every
Hey!
step you take is getting you closer to the finish
I've
line.
had over.
Any questions on the course?
What?
Perfect. All right,
What are you talking about?
let's mute that. Okay, so now that we're done with the course, let's go back to this. We're almost done. The Finish Festival, there is an official post-race celebration happening at Century Park. You can have live entertainment. There's a beer garden by Heineken, activities and sponsors and partners, and it's open to families and friends and the general public. You have to be 21 or older to get the complimentary beer ticket. The hours is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it's at Century Park right here. So the finish line is straight. You finish here. They have medical tents in this area. They have water, heat sheets. I recommend getting a heat sheet. Where do you go? There. The heat sheet kind of keeps you warm. You don't want to get too cold after the race too rapidly, so keep that on. They have medical tents here if you do have any pain. And then they have recovery food. And when you exit here or here, this is where the Finish Festival is. Okay. Any questions on the finish line? If you're doing the charity half, the finish just turns around and finishes there too. So you might have some people finishing with you from the half marathon. Okay. It's pretty straightforward. And the last thing I want to talk about is the LA Marathon Breakfast Celebration. I hope everyone signed up for the breakfast celebration already. The last day to sign up is tomorrow morning. The purpose of the LA Marathon Breakfast Celebration is mostly to thank our pace leaders, coaches, and leaders for all of the hard work and dedication that they've been doing to help get you to the finish line. It's volunteer work, so they spent more than 25 weeks prepping and getting ready to get you guys ready to run your first marathon or to run a personal best. And this is a way for us to give back to them and thank them and give them a gift and just recognize their hard work. It's also a point for us to celebrate your accomplishments on getting through a 26-week training program and running the LA Marathon. It's not an easy feat, and we definitely want to make sure that we can celebrate it with everyone. We want to hand out gifts to first-time marathoners. So the first-time marathoners will receive a gift. This is the first year that we're doing this, and we hope to continue to have these breakfast celebrations with the gifts for the first-time marathoners. Join us. We're also going to have people share their unique stories. So some people who are running their first marathon will come up and share their background and what they went through and how the Pacers has helped them and things like that. So it's very inspiring. You can bring friends, families, people who run with you at Pacers who didn't run the marathon. They can come as well. It's going to be at Brookside Golf Club. Donation's $50. It's a Saturday after the marathon, and the attire is just Pacer gear. So nothing fancy, but we do want to make, do something a little higher end than last year. Last year, we just went to Doghouse. And we want to try to make this a great event so that we can do this every year. I think it's going to be a good event for everyone. Any questions on the breakfast celebration? Any questions on how to sign up or anything like that? No, perfect. Tomorrow is picture day as well. So if you don't have Pacer Red, make sure that you get Pacer Red at Run With Us. It might be too late, they're actually closed. But if you don't have Pacer Red gear, just wear a red shirt. If you don't have a red shirt, a black shirt will do. The reason why we want everyone in Pacer Red is, and you can see the picture back there. It's a team picture and we want everyone to be in red. And if you're wearing a bright yellow shirt, you're going to stand out and it's just going to make the picture look a little odd. So we will hide you in the back if you are wearing a obnoxious yellow, green, orange shirt. So Pacer red or black would be ideal for tomorrow's picture. Okay. And yes, it's $50 a person. The reason why it's $50 is because Brookside's an expensive club, and it's breakfast and it's tables, and they provide us with the PA system and all that, and we felt like you guys are worth it, and in order for us to have it expensive, it has to be a little bit more expensive as well. But I think it'd be a good event. And if it is a point where it turns out to be too expensive, next year we can do it somewhere else. That's not as expensive, maybe somewhere else here in Pasadena. Okay. Perfect. Well, if there is any questions, I'm here. This is my email. You can always email me as well if you don't have any questions if you come up with one later. I'll stay here for about 3 minutes if there's any other questions. If not, enjoy your race, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for our last 8-miler.
Thanks for doing this. It was really helpful.
You're welcome. I'm glad I can help. It's the least I can do.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
You're
Good.
very welcome.
So, Coach, our miles, midweek miles for this next week, the taper week, can you just remind me what they are?
I would have to double check. I have them right here, actually. Sorry, I don't have it memorized. This week, so we have Saturday is 8 miles, Sunday is 10 miles, Monday's rest, or 10 minutes. And then Wednesday or Tuesday, we have 30 minutes easy. Thursday, 30 minutes easy. And that's it. So Tuesday, Thursday is 30 minutes easy. And Sunday is 10 minutes easy. Sorry, I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
I'm sorry, I forgot to hit the button. So I wasn't aware of that. Sunday, we should do an easy 10-minute recovery run.
Yeah, it's just a nice, easy shakeout. I mean, you can go for a walk too. It doesn't have to be a run. At this point, the training that you did is already there. The hay's in the barn, I like to say. Any extra running you do now isn't going to help you fitness-wise. It will help you mentally. So if you mentally feel like you need to get an additional run in, you can, but just keep it slow and short, and you'll be ready. It's just to shake out the jitters and make sure your legs are still feeling fresh.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Especially for the breakdown of the course. That was really helpful.
I think it helps because, when Sabrina ran her first LA marathon, she wasn't aware of the first 6 miles and she dropped out about 18.
Really?
Because
Wow.
after 6 miles, she was dead. She didn't mind because she was doing it for fun. But I like to warn people now because the first 6 miles can sneak up on you.
Right. Right. Yeah, I've done it. I've done it. This will be my third one. But even so, you know, it was just, yeah, it was just great. It was just helpful to be reminded of the shape of
Yeah,
it, shape of the
yeah,
court.
awesome. Mhm.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
You're welcome.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, I have a question. So this is so and I don't know if you know me yet, but I've been running with you guys for about 2 weeks now.
Okay.
And I'm Deanna. I'm 20 years old, and I actually signed up for the marathon like late January. And I was always like consistently running like 10 miles maximum before, like 13 miles. And then I haven't really ran like past 18 miles. I did an 18 miler 2 weeks ago, and last week I did yeah, like I did 17 miles. So, and that's the most I've done, like 18. Do you think I will struggle like it will be like I would have to drop out in the
How long does it take you to do the 17 or the 18?
the 18 when I did it that one time it took me 2 hours and 24 minutes.
Okay. I think you should be okay. Um, Physiologically, or we can only benefit from like 2.5, 3 hours of running anyway. So if you
Mhm.
were to do like a 22 miler or a 23 miler, you know, it really won't give you that much more physical benefit. What it will do, it will give you more mental benefit. So running a marathon is almost equal mental as it is physical. So you can be physically fit and physically strong, but if you're not ready mentally, you're probably not gonna have a good race, and the potential of dropping out is high. And vice versa. If you're really strong mentally and physically you're not ready, the same thing can happen. But with marathon running, you don't necessarily have to go to 20 or 22 to complete your marathon or to run a good marathon. You can run as high as 18 and be okay. And from January, that gives you about 5 to 10, about 12, 13 weeks. That's fine. I generally like 12 to 16 weeks of training for a marathon as a minimum. The Pacers have a 25-week program or 26-week program because it's designed to help newcomers
Yeah.
um, get used to it as well. So that's why it's little bit of a longer buildup to help prevent
Mhm.
overuse injuries. But I think you should be okay. But just be conservative during the first half of the course, and you can try to pick it up towards the second half. But with an 18 miler, I would feel confident running it.
Yeah, I did the Desano where we did the uphill. I
Mhm.
remember after the first when we were running after the first 6 miles, I was doing like a speed of like 7.5 minute miles, and then I was burnt out. And then later on, I like ran like a slow like late eights, like 8:30,
Yeah.
and then I picked it up at the end. But that was only like 12 miles or like
Yeah,
18.
you just be careful with the downhills because especially the first half of like the first 4 miles, if you end up running, the 7:30s that you were going down Descanso, then you will be in for a really difficult race. Maybe start off at like 8:30s or 8 minutes initially,
Mm-hmm.
then see if you can pick it up later. I mean, I don't think you should maybe even try to go for a 7:30, even on the big downhill at mile like 17. Just try to keep it conservative. I mean, a marathon shouldn't really feel like you're pushing until about mile 13 or 14 anyway. You should feel relatively effortless or struggle free the first 13 miles or so, and then slowly start to get harder and harder as you go on. Okay, so
I
if you
see.
feel like you're struggling at mile 6, then you're running too fast.
I see. So tomorrow the 8 mile is supposed to be an easy run or
Easy.
no?
Yeah, just nice and easy. Just go out there and just enjoy it. Shake out the legs, just get the mileage in. That way, on a race day, our bodies are nice and recovered and ready to run.
Mm-hmm. So if I do like around like 8 minute miles, like the 18 miles I finished, it said my average pace was 7:57.
Mhm.
Um, how long do you think I'll finish a marathon in?
Let me show you. You see this little chart I have over here inside?
Yeah.
So 8 minutes per mile right here is a
Mm-hmm.
3:29 marathon.
Mm-hmm. So I should follow the 3:30 pacers.
Yeah, so the 3:30 pacer would be right on 8-minute pace. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I have too many questions.
No, that's why I'm here. See
See you tomorrow. Bye,
you
doctor.
tomorrow.
Coach, one last quick question. We didn't talk about carbo loading. Any thoughts on that? I don't think we shouldn't wait until the Friday before, right?
Yeah, you can. I usually start like carbo loading maybe 2 days, 3 days before. But the problem with carbo loading is sometimes a lot of people do it just for race day, and our body isn't adapted or used to those that much carbs. So it can kind of backfire on us if we do too much.
Hmm.
So now if you did carbo load for, the 18, the 20, and the 22, and I would do something similar. I try to keep everything exactly the same as those long runs, which is why we call them simulation runs. So if you really didn't do much carbo loading for those, I would probably just stick to the normal Blaze pizza carbo load and just do that and not do anything extra. Because like one pasta dinner, pizza dinner, that's not gonna overdo it. That should be enough just to give you enough carbs for the race and not give you the potential of it backfiring on you.
Hmm.
Ideally what I would do is have like a nice spaghetti dinner with meatballs, meat sauce. I like to stick with meat sauce and stay away from any milky sauce like Alfredo sauce because the milky sauce has a higher chance of upsetting your stomach. So I would do that, maybe either the day before or 2 days before. And then the other day, I like to have like a healthy fish. So usually it's like a healthy salmon with a baked potato, and sometimes they have like grains like a dirty rice or something like that. And I like to have that too because it's nice, healthy fatty acids, keep my inflammatories down. Because when you run, your body swells, so that kind of gives you the anti-inflammatory free fatty acids to kind of keep that lowered. And then it also has the complex carbs with the baked potatoes and the grains and the rice and things like that. So I like to do those two dinners. In the order, it doesn't matter, whatever you like. If you don't like to have fish the day before the race, then do it on Friday. And then on Saturday, do the spaghetti with meat sauce. That's my personal recipe, and that's what I do with Sabrina. And it seems to work fine for us. But obviously everyone is different. Mhm.
Yeah, right, right. Oh, okay. So it's possible to overdo the carbo loading and just get too stuffed.
Yeah, yeah, because your body will start to break down the carb. Like if it's a lot of complex carbs, your body will start to work overload to try to break down the complex carbs, and then you might become a little tired and anxious. If it's a lot of simple carbs, then you're gonna have all this energy initially, and then you're gonna feel sleepy. And if your body's not used to it, then your body can respond abnormally. So try to do everything similar to what you did on the 20 and the 22 if it worked for you.
Okay, great.
It's a good question, and I'm glad I'm still recording because everyone will hear
Yeah,
it.
right, right. Okay. Great. Thank you. See you
You're
tomorrow.
very welcome. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.